Hey everybody, I'm Joe Killinger. I'm a real estate investor and entrepreneur, and we put these videos together every week to give you all the tips and insights from my experience over the last several years. So make sure you tune in and subscribe, and thank you. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. I've got a special guest today. I've actually been chasing him down for a while to try to get him in here to talk about restaurants. And I think with everything going on in the environment, it's a perfect time to have him in and have a good discussion. So Ed, thank you very much for coming in.
No problem. Happy to be here.
Yeah, Ed is. Let's give a little bit about your background. You've owned 5 restaurants in Los Angeles, right?
In the Santa Monica mostly area, yeah.
Santa Monica area.
And then one down in San Clemente in Orange County. Yeah.
Okay. You're staying pretty involved with the restaurant industry at this point, keeping a finger on the pulse, so to speak?
Keeping a finger on the pulse. I'm also now building and designing restaurants rather than owning them now. So
okay.
I'm on that end now.
Oh, okay.
And I have my toe touch in a few restaurants, which I have a percentage ownership in.
Yeah,
at
okay.
the time. So,
all in Santa Monica
all
still?
in Santa Monica.
You can name them if you want. Nobody.
Well, right now I'm building a new one, a new Mexican restaurant called Nuevo.
Okay.
It's on Washington Boulevard. It'll be in Washington Boulevard, maybe opening in about a month. I did a nightclub in Hollywood called the Liason.
Okay.
So I've been building these restaurants, a Golden Bull restaurant down in the Santa Monica Canyon.
Very
and
nice.
we did all of that, had a percentage of that restaurant. And
Okay.
so there's a lot of little places I've been remodeling, redoing, building brand new. And so
I didn't know you did all that. I just thought you were an operator all these years.
I was, but
Yeah,
now I have the expertise
Had enough of that,
of
huh?
operating, so I have a lot of
Yeah.
experience and input to give these people now
Right.
that are building and all that.
Well, I think you bring a lot of value to our viewers. I think there's a lot of people right now not really sure which direction to turn, and I think and we'll get into obviously coronavirus and all that stuff because I think that's such a hot topic we kind of have to touch on it. But prior to that, you in the commercial brokerage, I talked to several of them, and you were seeing smaller restaurants around LA. And today we're going to be mostly talking about LA. So, but you are seeing this around the country. You've seen smaller operators, mom and pops, that were probably struggling. Where do you see the mom and pop restaurants in Los Angeles? Are they going to be able to succeed, or are you going to see a lot more? Do you think we have a lot more national chains coming in? With higher labor costs, lease rates are so high. How do you think that's going to affect that side of the industry?
Well, in the Los Angeles area, it's very challenging now for the mom and pops, only because, like you say, the minimum wage is at $15 an hour. Plus the waiters get to keep all the tips they make, which can be a couple $100 a night,
Right.
on top of getting the $15. And then you have to pay the payroll tax on that.
Right.
And then you have workers' comp on that,
Yeah.
then you have employee insurance on that, and those numbers start putting things out of whack a little bit. And plus the real estate rentals are pretty high in this area. So that combination makes it very challenging and difficult for a mom and pop to operate. They almost have to run the place themselves, like being a true mom and pop, rather than putting a management team in there to run the place, because they wouldn't be able to pay the management team and themselves something. So that's where the challenge is. They would have to operate, and then that limits how many places you can operate too. So
it can be a tough environment for them.
It's a very tough environment, especially in very prime location areas.
Yeah, well, the leases are so high, and then they
By
just
the
have to
beach and-
pass it on to their customers, I guess.
Right,
Right.
and there's only so much you can charge the
Right.
customer
Yeah, they're gonna say that's enough of that.
before they go, well, they're charging me this price where I can go to a steakhouse or a fish house or some specialty restaurant. So all of a sudden, all those prices are almost melding to be about the same cost, and people start deciding, well, why should I go get a steak here when I can go to the high-end place and for about the same price get better service or imagine better service, or impressive service. So
now your restaurants, you're focused on what level of restaurants are you focused on? That you are owning?
mine were more mid-level.
Mid-level.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they were a little bit upscale, just above that little upscale, but we weren't high-end.
Okay.
And we weren't down at the low-end price. So we're right where where most of the people are at, where
It's
they
kind
can
of a
go.
sweet spot though, isn't it?
It's a great spot because it's
Yeah.
an everyday type of restaurant
Right,
where you
exactly.
can go and eat something there every day.
Mhm.
You get to know the owners, the people get to know the owners, you get to know the customers,
Yeah.
and it becomes more of a community
Yeah.
restaurant where, people know you, you know them, you support them in their neighborhood, in their churches or temples, or
Yeah.
or you help with the fire department or the police department. So we're those kind of people rather than
Yeah, exactly.
the high end, which
Yeah, I would
you're
think-
kind of a no name. In the restaurants that I had, you get to know the person. So maybe after the third time they've come, you buy them a drink, you
Yeah.
buy them a dessert, you buy them something. Whereas when you go to those higher ends,
Yeah.
you're just
Yeah, you operate in
a
very
blank slate there.
localized and,
Yeah. So
I guess let's touch on what's going on right now with the coronavirus. It's kind of, and I know you're not really doing a lot of day-to-day operations, so, but what are your thoughts on how you think this was going to affect the restaurant industry in Los Angeles?
well, if it goes a long time, I think they're all
In trouble.
a little bit scared or a little concerned because the employees won't be making as much money. I think they said, as I saw the recommendations for the corona, is stay out of public eating places.
Yeah.
And, I just spoke to a restaurant owner today and he goes, what do you think? And I said, you have to kind of put out an email, maybe an Instagram, or however you do your social media to say that we're concerned about it also,
Yeah.
that we are trying to keep the place clean and we're taking extra measures
Putting the list of stuff that you're doing.
that we're doing
Yeah.
to reassure the customer
Yeah.
that you really care what's going on and
Sure.
come on over and eat, and
Yeah.
we'll prepare to go for you, find alternatives to get that food out to them. So I think it could affect the mom and pop person
More so.
more so if it goes a couple of months. And this is where the landlords have to come in
Yeah, they're gonna
and say,
let us help.
let us help, or say we are suffering together.
Yeah.
So it can't only be the restaurant owner suffering, the landlord has to come in and suffer a bit, and everybody has
Work
to
together.
work together and make
make it
this,
through.
yeah.
Yeah.
And give up a little bit.
In targeting, didn't GrubHub just announce I think this morning they just announced they're not gonna take commissions for deliveries from the restaurant owners.
That's good.
So I think that kind of stuff can really help. And then the smaller, focusing on delivery probably or take home is
It's
probably.
probably the best, yeah. I
Yeah.
think where the restaurants can make up any lost
Yeah.
where the people come in.
So really, really beef up their marketing right now to stay in front of people. Although, the last few nights as I'm driving home, I'm seeing some of the restaurants on Montana Avenue, pretty busy.
Pretty busy
So
still.
yeah, so I think, maybe I was shocked.
Yeah,
I thought, well, nobody's gonna be going out, but there they were.
I've seen a couple of emails come through. I think the Draycott and
Mm-hmm.
Pacific Palisades released a nice email. Scopa
Yeah.
and Marina Del Rey released a nice email saying how we're concerned and we're taking all
the
every effort,
precautions.
all the precautions. Please
Yeah.
feel safe to come in.
Yep.
And that's what the people want to hear. They want to.
They wanna know that you're doing something about it,
Right.
so.
Exactly.
I tell you what, being pinned in with my family for very many days, I'd be like, I gotta go out to eat.
I know.
I gotta do something.
I know.
I'll risk it.
Exactly.
Now, ghost kitchens. Have you had much experience with those, or have you had any?
I haven't had that much experience
feedback?
with it, but I've been thinking about, there's a location that I'm really interested in,
Uh-huh.
and the thought of the ghost kitchen came up for that specific location.
Yeah.
And I've heard how Yelp and or GrubHub and all these Postmates and
Yeah.
Uber are trying to create these ghost kitchens
Yeah.
where they can pretend that there's 5 restaurants coming out of this one location.
Yeah. Exactly.
And basically, it's more of a kitchen than
Yeah,
anything
it's all it
else.
is, a kitchen that does
Right.
nothing but
And you
delivery.
can have 5 different menus saying it's a burger place,
Yeah.
it's a Japanese sushi place,
Yeah.
and you don't know it's all coming from that same kitchen or that area. So,
Do you think that's something that'll really catch on in the LA market?
the social,
It's so new, right?
it's
Yeah.
so new. I think so many things can happen that it is a
Yeah.
possibility that it could happen. I think it could consolidate styles of restaurants in one location if they can
Right.
feed a neighborhood, rather it coming from 3, 4, 5 miles away. It's
Yeah.
coming from a mile radius where they
Okay.
can feed a lot of people different styles of food. So I could see it taking off like that.
Yeah, I would think, because, you know, you're not gonna have the brick and mortar that you're paying for all these different locations. You don't have that
Exactly.
overhead.
Right.
You don't have all the staff,
Right.
payroll costs and all that.
Exactly.
So I think it's something that I think you're gonna start seeing more of. I don't know that, I mean, I think a lot of, when I go out to eat, I like to go out and have the experience of eating out. I like to go to, actually, your old restaurant, just as a FYI, you own Babalu. Did you start Babalu?
I started Babalu.
You started Babalu.
Kind of started all of Montana Avenue there.
Yeah,
One
you
of the
did.
first restaurants on Montana.
Yeah.
And a nice 30-year run, so
Yeah, yeah. Well, when you first got to Montana, well, there was almost nothing there, was there?
there was nothing there. There was a store across the street selling rocks from the beach.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and they would open whenever he wanted to.
Yeah.
When he wasn't surfing, and there was really nothing there on
Yeah.
the street. And then when we opened, suddenly all these people were coming, and I noticed the whole avenue was
Yeah,
left behind, and the developers came in and rebuilt the whole street. So
yeah.
and raised all the rents, and you know,
Oh, yeah, here you are today.
Yeah.
But Babalu, I started going to years ago, because I just walked there. I live right around the corner.
Okay.
And now, being that it's Art's Table, I just kind of still go to my same little
Yeah.
place.
Yeah, yeah.
And now I've got to know everybody there, and it's just kind of my own little, I guess, cheers. Like,
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
except they don't yell my name when I walk in. I'm not there that much. But I go.
A few
everyone-
people do.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, but I do see that, you know, I really like to go in and experience the people that I see. I enjoy going and seeing them, and then the food's incredible. Not that I couldn't have it delivered, but I just like that experience.
Right.
I think people that
It's that
really like
neighborhood. It's still nice to keep that neighborhood
Yeah.
feel going, and
yeah, because it's like Montana Avenue. It's kind of in the fact that I can just walk over there. It's
Right.
very nice. But well, Ed, thank you very much. I am going to put Ed's information down below so you can reach out to him. We will get a list of his restaurants so you can take a look at what's coming up that he's got going. He's got some incredible stuff happening in LA. And Ed, thank you very much for coming in.
my pleasure. Yeah.
And if you haven't done so yet, please do subscribe as we put these videos out every week. Thank you.